Hello, everyone. Hey, I got a question for you today. Have you ever been to an orphanage? Maybe interesting to you that I would ask such a question, but I have to make the assumption that most of the people watching this video are Americans, and therefore orphanages are not something that are your routine or your norm. So the story begins with us landing in a country that definitely was very different than here in the United States. We landed in a country that would be considered a third world country, a country that definitely has challenges and pains and difficulties that were unfamiliar to me. This country that we landed in was the country of Haiti. And it's fascinating to me because you may or may not know this, but boy, Haiti does not lie very far off the borders of the United States. It's a country that you would think, with the wealth and so forth that's around it, that it would be more developed, that it would be different than it is. And you find me, maybe you hear it in my voice today. I'm thinking of Haiti, and I got to be honest with you guys. I've been to lots of countries. I've done lots of international missions work, and Haiti was the one that challenged my heart the most, that I found the most difficult, because I bumped into so much need, so much lack of hope. Haiti was the country by far, and I've been in some pretty desperate countries, pretty desperate parts of the world where the situation did not seem very hopeful. But Haiti was the first place that I visited that I thought, and I found myself crying out and saying, God, where's the hope? Where's the solution? And the challenge was the people. I don't have an investment in preserving Haitian culture. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be, but I don't have an investment in preserving Haitian culture or anything of that nature, but it was the people. And we went to numerous orphanages. I remember one in particular. It was actually quite an impressive place. Actually, now that I say that, all the orphanages in Haiti were quite impressive when you looked what they were dealing with and what was around them. This one orphanage in particular, we went in and we had a twofold purpose there. We had the opportunity to participate in the continual physical building of the orphanage. And in this case, they were building a school. That's pretty cool, right? I mean, I think most of us could connect with the value and the importance of having the opportunity to education, the opportunity to learn, the opportunity to hone skills. And in this case, they were building a school, and this school was going to provide that exact opportunity for children to learn to read and write, to learn of their history, but also to learn some skills and some trades, such as welding, such as bricklaying, practical skills, that they could take and use in their country to make a difference and to earn a living. And we had two full purpose: helping to build that school physically, but also we were there to interact with and spend time with those kids. And because this particular orphanage had a strong leaning towards a school and training, it was fun to go into their classrooms and to do two things: to watch them learn, to watch the teachers teach them, but also to engage in that process with them. I remember going into, I am by no means an English teacher. I would not claim to be. I'm not a linguist. Grammar can be a little elusive to me and so forth, but went into one particular classroom and had the privilege of spending some time with some kids that were learning English and participate in that process with them and lend what I could lend. And it was a great experience to interact with those kids and to see that concept, that thought, that light in their eyes, as they're learning and growing. And I'm sure part of it would just be fun. And we saw this a lot over the years, that you'd go into a place And they would light up because, hey, there's somebody different here. There's somebody that looks and feels and acts and expresses things differently than maybe what we're used to. That was a cool experience. And in this particular orphanage, I watched one team member in particular really seeming to lean into this interaction with the kids, this opportunity to befriend them, to make a difference. And you remember I started the story by saying that we had a twofold purpose in this particular orphanage. And that purpose was to build on the physical building, but also to interact with the children. And as I watched this team member that seemed to be really leaning into this experience, I watched them and I was enjoying seeing what they were doing and how they were befriending some of these children. And one day we were taking a bit of a break from the physical building, and another team member came to me and they said, "Hey, this person, they're not working as hard as most of the rest of us. They're not pulling their weight, so to speak." And keep in mind, um, I can't completely not sympathize with this team member's perspective, because the work we were doing was it was hard because it was hot. The work was heavy because we're dealing with concrete and bricks and so forth. And so it was hard, exhausting work. And it was extremely hot, very hot country. At least the time when we were there, very hot. So we're stressed by all of this, and this team member seeing their fellow team member not work as hard. But I had a moment right there to be able to say, yes, I see what you mean, and let me consider your complaint, so to speak. But did you also notice what they're doing? They're not just lazing around. They're not just sitting in the shade. They're not just drinking water and not doing anything. They're engaging with these kids. Did you see what this team member did just a little bit ago with organizing a game? And did you see the game they organized? And did you see how he organized it? There was no ball, and that's significant in this story because a lot of games, revolve around balls. You can kick balls around with kids and stuff and have a lot of fun. This was they had found various things such as plastic sacks and a piece of clothing and different things, and they had taken it, and this team member had helped these kids form out of what we would see as trash. They formed it, they wrapped it, they tied it, and they made a ball out of what we would call trash. And then they're playing a game with it. I said, do you see what they're doing? Do you see that it's not just that they're being lazy and not pulling their weight, but they're actually doing these other endeavors that are engaging, that are really pretty cool. And so here we are in this orphanage, and you're watching these kids that, they're not getting a fair shake in life. Mom and dad are gone. They're living in this group commune kind of setting. And yet they're being cared for as best as could be done. It wasn't to our standards by any means, but it was good care for that setting, for that culture, for that level of poverty. And mostly they were being loved, those kids. And so I pointed out to the team member that had the complaint, I said, listen, your complaint is valid. I'm not discounting your complaint. Your observation is an accurate one, but add this observation into it, that what they're doing is they're engaging with these children, and they're doing something to lend value, and they're showing these kids that in the midst of lack, we can take what we have. And yeah, they were just having fun, but you know what? They felt loved in that process, and that's rich and that's deep. So it was a great moment for me to be able to sort through all that. But I also ended up in the place where I said to the team member with the complaint, your complaint is valid, it's heard, but consider this side. And then I looked at that other team member, and I thought, you're doing something rich and deep, and you're leaning into something here that deserves to be leaned into. And so I was able to bring perspective, but also then allow the great things that were happening on the building side, but also the engagement with these kids side. And that turned out to be a very good thing. And I hope you can hear in this story that a lot of times, particularly as a leader, you find that different people have skills and talents and or are ready to lean into things differently from each other. Right, one person is more ready for something than another, and in that process, you want to inspire them. Yeah, to push their limits and to increase and push their limit of what they're um, I guess willing would be the word to lean into, but also to inspire them in those arenas where they're just good at it, right? Some people are just good at building things. Some people are just good at engaging with people and getting to the heart of the matter. We all need to participate in a variety of things, but we have those things we're particularly good at. So it was fun to be able to inspire both team members, to lean into this and to be at peace and at ease with each other in the process. I mean, we are team members here, and we're endeavoring to get the job done, so to speak. But part of that job was, I don't mean that in a entirely just get the work done. It was about accomplishing something that's heartfelt and meaningful on both sides. I mean, that being it's meaningful on the heart side, and so the team member playing games and stuff with the kids, there's a heart to that, right? There's also a heart to building the building and getting the school up and running, and there's value on both sides. And I hope that both team members were able to see that in the end and be at peace and at ease with each other and support each other. And maybe they gained a value for the other's strength, and maybe they were able to also participate a bit more. I think that is what occurred. But orphanages are an interesting thing, and that's where I started with this story. Is an orphanage is a foreign thing to most of us here in the U.S. unless you've traveled to other countries, and to watch those children who did not have parents for whatever reasons uh, be cared for and loved to the best that could be done in that situation was really a beautiful thing. So, listen, thank you for watching. Thank you for participating with me. I enjoy telling these stories and leaning into some of these things. And I hope that the richness that I get out of doing this, I hope that you're finding value in it as well. That would be my hope and my desire. So, thank you for